Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another LaunchBay product update live stream. I'll give folks a couple minutes to file in here, but really excited to be hosting this one today. Have a bunch of cool stuff, a bunch of highly requested features that I'll be covering in this live stream that I'm excited to show off. My name, for anybody who's tuning in for the first time, is Sam Chlebowski, one of the co-founders here at LaunchBay, and excited to show you everything new here today. So as we go through what I'm about to talk about here in this live stream, please don't hesitate, ask questions, chime in. Every comment that you send in, whether you're tuning in on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I will see those. I will be able to cover anything you want to know about the product, even outside of what our latest updates involve and the things that we've added to the platform over the past 2 weeks. In case you missed it, this month has been a really big one for us. We have been shipping just like nonstop. Our big update of the season. Hold on, gotta shut my door here. My dog just walked in. We have an English bulldog who comes barreling through the door sometimes and opens the door on me. But so yeah, if you've been following, we have early in the month released a huge update to our client portals. If you want to learn more about that, we put out a great YouTube video. I'll just go ahead and share that here in the comments. That's really a full walkthrough of everything that we've done with the client portal experience. But then right after that, we got back to work and really turned our focus back to some of the internal parts of the product. So the features that you and your team are using every single day, we spent a lot of time focusing on that over the course of this month. So I'm going to be showing you a bunch of that stuff today. So let me just grab this video link here, and then we'll pull up our change log to show you, to just give a quick overview of like what I'll be covering here today. So here's that video link for anybody who wants it. This is a full walkthrough of everything new within our client portal experience in LaunchBay. I'll also go ahead and post that to Instagram here. I don't think my comments carry over to that. So yeah, let me go ahead. I'll pull up my screen here and let's go ahead and dive in. And I'll just give you a very quick rundown of like the things that I'll be showing off. If anything on this list is like, hey, I want to see that right away, maybe I can't stay for the whole time, feel free. Let me know. I'll skip ahead in the order and I can get right into showing you what we've built. So 1 second. Okay, so here's the LaunchBay changelog. If you're not familiar with this, if you haven't seen this before, it's a really great way to stay up to date with everything that we're shipping. We update this every time we release an update. You can check that out at launchbay.com/changelog. Also, I see we have a bunch of people watching now here live. Feel free, say what's up. Where are you tuning in from? How's your business doing? What questions do you want to know? If you chime in with those things early, I'll make sure to get to every single question. That is my guarantee here. Even if it means staying late, I will address every single question that comes in. So please feel free. Don't be shy. I love questions. It makes it a lot more fun for me when people are engaged and asking questions. So let me know. And that also applies to things like feature requests. If there's things that you've been wanting in the platform that would just be like mission critical to you, do not hesitate. Write in with a comment. After I do every one of these live streams, I actually compile my notes. I use Claude to kind of compile my notes using the transcript as well as some of the information, just like the comments that I pull from our streams. And I send that to our development team. So don't hesitate to write in with things like feature requests as well. All right, so cool. With that, let's go ahead and let's take a look. I had mentioned this earlier, but we on the 4th of this month released our new and improved client portal experience. I did a full walkthrough of that in our live stream 2 weeks ago. So I might not get to this one showing you around again just because it's something that I already covered. But if you do really want to see it, let me know and I'm happy to circle back, show you what's new. And also if you've been a customer who've been using the new client portals and there's things that, hey, you just don't know the way that they work, maybe you want to add additional resources, you need help configuring things, let me know. Happy to walk you through anything there. So with that, let's take a look at what we shipped the week of March 11th. So this was a cool update for us. We did a redesign of the project progress tracker. And this is something, it seems like a small kind of adjustment improvement on the surface, but it's really cool, especially for your clients. It gives a really nice look and feel to the project progress tracker. And it's something that goes in line with kind of a theme of what we've been doing with the app. We've been working really closely with the designer to just improve various aspects of our app. That includes both the admin side and the client portal side. And that's all a mission to ensure that, we just have a really modern experience. It's intuitive, it's easy to use, and like, quite frankly, it just looks prettier. It looks better for your clients. It's more aligned with your brand. As a part of that, we've also redesigned the task listing. This is on the internal, so the admin side. It's a much cleaner sort of view. Actually, I don't know, I forget who had requested it. I know it was somebody in one of our last ones, but there was a feature request that came in for the task listing on the admin side of like creating projects, creating templates, where somebody had asked about adding a create stage button to the top of the task list instead of the bottom. And that is something that this update actually includes. And that was a direct result of somebody chiming in during one of these live streams and saying, hey, I need this. So that's something I'll show off here in a little bit. I see Virginia has a question. I might not get to this one right away, but I promise I will answer it. Virginia asks, we are considering another instance to separate two of our business divisions. That does make sense. Can you demonstrate how the new filter functionality could give us a separation between the two entities? Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to circle back because I do have a couple clarifying questions about this. But if you wouldn't mind, Virginia, just so I can prep for this question to show you correctly. So are you saying that you want to run both of these businesses within the same LaunchBay account, or are you going to do different ones? Because if you're going to run it in the same account, I do have a suggestion there. But if you're thinking about having basically two different LaunchBay accounts, one for each business, that'll change my answer. So just let me know. But I will show you some ways how to do this when we get to the saved filters part of the discussion here today. So thanks for tuning in, and keep them coming. I love to get these questions in nice and early. Gives me time to prepare, gives me time to ask any clarifying questions before I show this off. So with that, moving down the list of the other things that we released on the week of March 11th, we revamped our tag interface to provide you, it's a better UI now, but it's also one of the things we noticed with our tag interface that is going to apply to both project tags as well as task tags, is that with project tags specifically, you were really limited in the colors that you could choose. It was limited to like 5 colors. And now you have just the entire rainbow basically of colors to use. And that was a solution because what we had noticed is sometimes people have 15, 20 different tags they're using day in and day out. And with only 5 colors before, like it was, you'd have a lot of colors overlapping. So we made a really nice improvement there. I'll show you that, where you have just a ton of different more options to choose from. We also have tooltips in the activity feed. So this is a smaller update, but it's can be really helpful for being able to just see at a glance like when a specific task was completed. So this activity feed, this is in both the project view, so on your admin side, as well as the view that clients can access in their portals. Basically, if you hover over it, it'll show the full date and time. We've also added smarter contract assignment this past week. What this is, and this will make a little bit more sense when I show this off, but basically what you can do is there was a little snag in our workflow before where if you had a contract, there was no way to auto assign the client to that contract. You always had to go in after the project was created, assign them manually to that contract specifically. Now, with the adjustments we've made, if you are using the client contract role, which is our default role that we set up for every contract, and I'll show you the full workflow for this. Basically, what it allows you to do is that it removes the need for any manual steps when creating a project if you're using things like Zapier to kick off projects automatically. So that covers what we shipped last week. This week, I will say that two of the things in here specifically are like some of our most requested updates of the past few weeks. So we're really excited to ship these. First up, we've got saved filters, which is something I know that Virginia just asked about. I'll show you this. Basically what you can do, you can save filters, name them whatever you would like, and reuse them. Before, we didn't have saved filters. So it meant that every time you log back in that day to LaunchBay, you would have to reset the filters that you were using on the project dashboard. Now, that is a thing of the past. You can set up your filters. You can very easily reuse them anytime you log in. Really streamlines the process of accessing the important project data you need from the project dashboard. So you can just hop in, get that information very quickly. We also improved the filter sidebar as a part of that. So this is another thing that we've refreshed the UI on, but we've also expanded the options of what you can build in terms of filters. Unassigned task notifications is something we have also added here. This is really for your team, for project admins, but basically, if there are tasks in a stage that is active, you'll now be alerted to the fact that some of those tasks are not assigned to anyone. And this is really just a flag to ensure that if you haven't set up things like auto assignment, or if there's tagged certain tasks you can't auto assign, that you know exactly what those are, and so nothing gets overlooked. We've also added a really cool update. This is the other thing that was very heavily requested, with the ability to specify a project stage when using our Zapier integration to create tasks. So if you're not familiar with this, and I will show you the workflow for setting this up, but you can use Zapier to create tasks in your LaunchBay projects. What that looks like a lot of times is something maybe happens in your CRM or an external project management tool, or you send a message to a specific Slack channel. We've had this create task action that allows you to create a task when a certain event happens. But one of the problems with it is you couldn't specify a stage for that task to be added to. Now, that is also a thing of the past. You can specify a stage so that anytime your Zapier workflow fires, LaunchBay will automatically create a task there. And cool, I see we have a couple of other questions that have come in. It looks like this is from Virginia. I don't know why the name didn't populate there, but I know who it is, so all good there. Same business, but tracking for partner onboarding versus client onboarding. Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. And then I see that you're trying to decide between the two options. Okay, so let me show you. I'm going to show you, Virginia, how to do this. We can actually cover this first. I'll show you this. After I talk just a little bit generally about the saved filters, I'm going to show you and answer your question specifically. Cheyenne asks a great question, which is, will tags be available for the client, for the portal/client view? So at the moment, they're not available for the portal/client view. We really look at tags as an internal function right now. But it's something that I actually don't really think we've considered up until this point. I would love to know there, Cheyenne, is, what would showing tags to the clients in their portals help you accomplish? It's definitely something we're open to considering. We kind of think as tags is really just like an internal function where they're used to give your team the ability to filter things correctly. And you can also use tags to trigger various automations. But if there's a reason, kind of a use case you could share with me of why you'd want to be able to show what tags are applied to various tasks to clients in their portals, 100% open to seeing and to exploring that further with my team. Let me know. I think that that's a really interesting one. So cool. And yeah, keep those questions coming. Some great stuff so far. With that, let's go ahead and get into saved filters plus the redesigned filter sidebar. So I'm going to pull up my LaunchBay account, and I'm going to show you all how to set up a saved filter in LaunchBay. It's super duper easy. It takes just like 30 seconds or so. And before that, I just want to pop this response from Cheyenne up. It helps them keep track of where they are. Of where we're at in the design process. That way we don't need to contact us to find out where the designs are at in production. Oh, okay. So that's an interesting one. So it sounds like, Cheyenne, with what you're looking to do there. So clients right now, you do have the ability to show them tasks in their portal. So like internal team tasks. So I can show you a workflow for that. That'll give them the status of that task, whether it's in progress, whether it's been completed. But it maybe sounds like that what with your workflow, maybe those default statuses that we have maybe aren't descriptive enough. So you're wanting to kind of use that as a workaround show them tags instead that are applied to the task. I can understand that. I'll show you a workflow for that here in a little bit. But first, let's go ahead and let's talk about our saved filters and our redesigned filters sidebar. So popping into my LaunchBay account, let me just go ahead, bring my screen back up here. It's important to note that with how we have launched our new saved filters, they're not yet available on the all tasks page, unfortunately. The all tasks page, if you're not familiar with this, this allows you to basically create filters that make it easy to sort between all of the tasks across all of your LaunchBay projects. So you're able to see, you're able to filter by whether the task is assigned to a client or a team member, who's assigned to that task, what tags were applied. Our saved filters aren't available on this just yet, but it is going to be coming soon to this page. So just hang with us. We wanted to launch it on the project's dashboard first. That was when we had spoke to users, said that it was more needed on the project's dashboard first, but it is going to be coming to this all tasks page as well. So with that, on the all tasks page, what you'll notice, so when you come in here by default, this is just going to show you all active projects. So just for the sake of showing you how this works, I'm going to remove the active project filter. And all you have to do to create a saved filter is click this button here on the right-hand side of your screen, this filters button here. Click that, and you'll see the sidebar will pop up. As I'd mentioned, we've completely redesigned this sidebar. It provides you a lot more options for what you want to filter between. You can filter by things that might need attention. So for example, you could filter projects that have a low health score, projects with no active tasks, or no recent activity or overdue tasks. You can also filter by the status of those projects. So whether it's active, completed, on hold, or archived. And then things like the tags that you've applied to those projects, as well as project owners, and then which templates a project was created from. So in my case, let's say I wanted to just know, I wanted to set up a filter first for only projects that I am the owner of, meaning these are projects where I've been assigned the project owner. They're things that I'm leading, I'm very responsible for. I'm just going to go ahead and set up this filter first, and I'm just going to click Sam Chlebowski as the project owner. And then I'll go ahead and click save. I'll enter a name for this, and I'm going to call this I'm just going to call this Sam's Projects. And then great. So I've saved that filter. And now every time I come back into LaunchBay, I can click Sam's Projects and only see projects that are assigned to me. Another filter that I think is really helpful to have set up, and there's a number of different ways you can do this based on how you work in your day-to-day business. But another filter that's helpful to set up is a filter that would be projects with a low health score. So I'm going to go ahead and create this filter. Actually, let me clear my previous filter first. So I'm going to create this, and this I'm just going to filter by projects with a low health score. I'm also going to make sure that the projects I'm sorting with a low health score are just assigned to me. I'll call this filter low health score. Click save. And then great, that's added to the list as well. So I have Sam's projects. Every day I can come in and see just my projects. And now I can also see the low projects with a low health score. And this is really useful, I think, specifically by sorting with things with a low health score, because we can go in then and say, hey, what's holding this project up? What do I need to do to get this back on track to bump up that health score? If you're not familiar with these health scores, they're automatically calculated by us based on project activity, client engagement, and task completion, and a really useful mechanism for just determining like what you have to prioritize that day. So that's really the bulk of saved filters. Let me know if you have any questions about that. And now I want to go ahead and just address Virginia's question here very briefly. And what Virginia asks, just to recap this, is that their business, they're considering basically running two separate divisions of their business within LaunchBay itself, and want a mechanism for showing how to use that filter functionality to give them separation between the two entities. So Virginia, I'm actually going to roll this in. I have a fun way to do this that's actually going to roll this in to talking about the next one of the other things that I wanted to show you here in this webinar, which is our redesigned tag interface. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to set up some project tags that allow me to basically choose between these two types of business. And just to refresh my memory, it looked like those two business entities. I'll give you like a really good example here, like a really clean, directly applicable example, which, so you had said, one for partner onboarding and one for client onboarding. So cool. So what I'll go ahead and do, pop back into my account here, and I'm going to go into my account settings here. And in your account settings, if you are a administrator, you're assigned to the administrator role in LaunchBay, you can, you'll have access to the settings, which allow you to do all of this cool stuff. I'm going to come into my tags here, and I'm going to go into the project tags. So what you'll see here now, we've really, if you saw the interface before, we have completely redesigned the way that this looks, where you have a ton of new colors to choose from, so you don't have to have things overlapping. And Virginia, what I would suggest for your specific use case is I'm going to come in and I'm going to set up one tag called client onboarding. Let's give this, I want these to be a really different color. So I'm going to give this purple, a purple color. Whoops. Cool, I created that. And then for the partner onboarding, I'm going to make that orange. Okay, so I have these two tags that I've set up. I have my partner onboarding and my client onboarding. What you could now do is in your template, you could then apply your those tags to your templates, and that's what I would probably suggest doing within your use case. So let me just, for the sake of this example here, I'm just going to create my two templates here real quick. I'm going to duplicate this template. And I'll call this part won't apply as directly to you in terms of like the tasks and stuff, but this will give you a good idea. So I'm going to call this partner onboarding. Sweet. Apply that. And now I'm going to duplicate, or I'm going to add the tag that I just created. So this is the partner onboarding template. I'm going to apply my partner onboarding tag here. Click save. Okay. And now what we'll go ahead and do is I'm going to duplicate this template once again. Rename this. We'll call this client onboarding. And then what I'll also want to make sure to do in this template is I will unselect partner onboarding and I will select the client onboarding template. So just a quick recap, why I'm doing this. So I've applied these two project tags. or I've set up these two templates, client onboarding and partner onboarding. And now every time I create a new project from one of these templates, what's going to happen is that that tag will be automatically applied. So then what I can do, and I'm not going to bore you all with setting up these templates or like creating new projects from the template, but what I'll be able to do here is if I go ahead and just add my partner onboarding, I'm just going to add it to a couple of random projects. I'll add that partner onboarding tag and then do a couple of other random projects. I will add the client onboarding tag. And now what the really cool part is, I can go ahead and set up a filter using those tags. So I'll go ahead and set up a filter for client onboarding. Just call this client onboarding. Save that filter. And then we'll create another filter called partner onboarding with that partner onboarding tag as the filter criteria. And now, very quickly, when I come in here each day, what I'll be able to do is click Save Filters. Sweet. Okay, let me look at all the partner onboarding projects. Here they are. Now I want to see the client onboarding projects. Great. Here those are. So a really smooth, streamlined way of being able to sort between those two types of projects really quickly. So Virginia, I would love to know, just as a quick follow-up, does that allow you to do what you were looking to do? Is this helpful? Hopefully so. I believe if you would like, I can probably clip this out and like send it to you directly. If you want to just follow up with me directly, you can email me as well as anybody else who's watching. You can email me at sam@launchbay.com. And if you send me an email, I think I can clip this out and send it to you if that was something that was helpful for you. But I appreciate you asking the question. With that, I would also love to circle back on a question that Cheyenne asked here. So we're going to kind of just turn our attention away for a second from some of the features we've released that week, because I want to answer this question very directly. I think it's a really good one. It's something I would like to dig into. So basically the problem here that I understand it, Cheyenne, why you'd want to show client, why do you want to show project and task tags in the client portal is to show clients where they are in the process of designing things for them, whether it's website, maybe it's logos, not sure the specifics of your business there, but let's go ahead and dive in. Also see we have Amanda joining us here. Hello. Hey, Amanda, great to have you with us. And then also Virginia, awesome. Cool to know that that's super helpful, being able to set up those filters that would basically allow you to sort by tags of client onboarding and partner onboarding. So to go back to this question from Cheyenne, the reason why I was digging into this a little bit is because LaunchBay actually already has a function that allows clients to track where they are in the process. And let me just show you why this works. And as I go through this, if there's anything that doesn't work about this for you, let me know. I'd love to just take your feedback. I'll take that back to the team. So within LaunchBay, and let me go into one of my, I think I have a website design project here. Okay, or this is looks like a digital advertising project. Okay, so let me just go ahead and I'm going to just reconfigure a couple of things here. So I have this task to design a campaign creative for the client. There's 5 different pieces of creative here. And one thing I'd like to point out is that this can all be templatized. So everything that I'm showing you here, while it's in an active project, this can all totally be configured at a template. And actually, let me instead, I'm going to go ahead and show you this actually in a template after thinking about it. Sorry, sometimes doing these streams live, I think I want to show something one way and then I want to show it another way, just because I don't know what questions people are going to ask ahead of time. So sometimes I have to backtrack a little bit and just, but I want to show you the sort of the cleanest way and how I would recommend setting it up. So I'm going to go back to my templates. And I also saw we had a question from Amanda. I hope I haven't missed this answer, but I want to know smarter contract assignment, talking about how clients can automatically be assigned to the client signee role. Don't worry, Amanda, you have not missed that. We haven't covered that, but I will cover that right after this. So I'm going to go into my template here. And let's say that I'll actually just work from one of these other templates. Let's just pretend, for the sake of example, this was a, and I can even just rename it so it's a little bit cleaner. Let's just call this design work. Okay. So I have some tasks here, and I'm going to also just change one of these stages here real quick. Design work, we'll call it. And then I will also just delete some of these tasks that aren't relevant. Sorry, I'm kind of doing this on the fly, so just hang with me for a moment. And let's say in this design work stage, we have two different tasks that our team is going to be completing for the client. So I'm going to add a task here, and I will call this, design client brand guide. Okay. What I can do within LaunchBay is there are two different options here. You have the option to make tasks private, meaning only internal team members can see them, or you have the option for showing tasks to clients in their portals. So with this, I decide that for this brand guide task, I want to show that to the client in their portal. So I'm going to assign my team members to this, the team members who will be working on this. But I'm not going to assign a client to it. So what that means is the client will be able to see this task, but and they'll be able to comment on it if they have questions about it. But it'll just be something that my team member and I will be working on. I'll also go ahead and add a subtask to this, just because this is going to be something that involves a couple of steps. Creating a new brand guide, a new brand identity, isn't something that is necessarily like an easy right away thing. For times that I've done this for clients, and I've also worked with other agencies to do it. So let's just say, there's step 1, step 2, and step 3. Okay, great. So let's go ahead. So now what we've done here is I've created a task that my client will be able to see, they will be able to interact with, but at the same time, my team and I will still have the ability to collaborate privately on if we would like to. So with that, what this is going to look like within an active project, let me go ahead and create a new project from this template here. And I'll just call this design project, set myself as the project owner. And then we'll go ahead and let's add a client to this task. Okay, I'm just going to assign them very quickly. What I want to do here, I just want to get to this. I'm not going to worry about activating these other tasks in the onboarding stage. As a note, if anybody who's watching this is just seeing LaunchBay for the first time, everything that I'm showing you here, well, this is like the more sort of manual process, just because I'm doing it on the fly. This is all stuff you can automate in LaunchBay, assigning the client, activating the tasks. All of that you can have done automatically, but just for the sake of example, I'm just going to be showing this in sort of the manual way, because I don't want to make everybody sit around and watch me like set up automations for this new template I created. So even though it is pretty quick, I just want to get to some other stuff. So I have this design work task that's activated, and now let's go ahead and I'm going to impersonate this client to show you what they will see in their portal. And this is what I was talking about, how LaunchBay has this function already that's going to allow the client to see what you are working on in the project. So in the tasks stage, the client can see, this onboarding stage. I didn't fully activate that, but this design work stage is in progress. What the client will now see in their portal here, Cheyenne, is that they're going to be able to see that this task is active. And then as we check off various things in this project, they'll be able to get updates on those. They can also, if they would like to, tag us and say, hey, estimated timeline for completion, if they wanted to, if they had missed that for some reason. But, they'll also see the due date on this as well, so they can know when it's going to be completed. And they'll see, let me go into the back end here quick. And what I will go ahead and do is I can go ahead and mark this complete. And then when that's completed, the client will also see that. And if we wanted to, we could even attach an additional file to this. So I'm going to do that very quickly in the back end here. I'm just going to attach a random file to this just to show you for the sake of example. And actually, let me pan back to my admin view just for a second. I'll just grab a random file from my desktop here. We'll pretend that this is a brand guide. And cool. So that task has been completed. What I could do is I could even, if I wanted the client to get another update about this, I could even ping them and say, hey, this is done. We've attached the file to this task. But then on the same hand, if I ever wanted to collaborate with my team privately, I could still go ahead and toggle off the visible to client option, and I could interact with my team privately as well. And you see very clearly that that is going to be private communication. So this is a really great solution, and I think it's really a core part of how LaunchBay operates, in that you can have these public-facing, client-facing tasks where clients can see the progress that's being made and keep track of whether things are done or not, but they don't necessarily have to see all the behind-the-scenes details. And your team is able to still interact and collaborate privately if you need to. So I would love to know there, Cheyenne, does this answer your question? Does that allow you to do what you were hoping to accomplish within LaunchBay? Let me know. Or would those, would clients still being clients able to see those tags? Is that something that would be helpful? I also see that we have another question here from Virginia. Ashley, is there a way to create saved views for users or to impersonate as a team user to create them? Just adding a question for later, not to interrupt. That was actually, no, it's totally fine now because it was actually good timing. We're at a nice little halfway point before we dive into smarter contract assignment. So at the moment, we don't have a way, I believe, to create saved views for other users in your account. That's actually something that's really helpful to know there, Virginia. I'm going to log a feature request and just to make sure that I have this right, and feel free to respond like yes or no. Basically, what you want is for the ability as an admin to set up filters for your team that they can use. If so, I think that makes a lot of sense. So we use HubSpot internally for our team, and that's something that we do all the time. We're always creating filters. For example, like creating filters for our sales team to say, hey, here's how you get, all, of the new people who've signed up for LaunchBay trials that have come in over the last, X days. Create that, share that with them. Shareable filters, I think, could be a really nice enhancement to this. Definitely going to log that for the team and appreciate you chiming in. Cheyenne asked a follow-up. I will check with my boss to see if that could work. When it comes to privacy concerns, can we make messages private between one client and one team member so certain team members cannot read messages? So we have various permission levels within LaunchBay there, Cheyenne, and that's something that I would pay attention to it in terms of team members being able to see specific things. The way that you get to your permission settings is if you click on the team page, when you invite a new team member, you have the ability to set up various roles for them: employee, manager, administrator, contractor. And then, of course, if you didn't want them to see any of that communication, what you can do is just don't invite them to the project. In LaunchBay, anybody who is assigned to the employee or contractor role, they're not going to be able to see all of the projects in the account unless they are assigned to them. Only managers and only team administrators are able to see every single project. Otherwise, if you create somebody as an employee, they need to be officially added to a project in order to see anything about it. So it sounds like that's probably the route that you would want to take there. And also, Virginia, good to know that the shareable filters, kind of the way that I described it, was exactly what you're looking for. Really helpful. Okay, so and wow, thanks for all the great questions, everyone. This has been a really fun one so far. Time is just flying by. So next up, and I know that this was something that Amanda in the chat was very curious about, which was smarter contract assignment. So let's go ahead. Let's dive in. I'll show you how that works. So before I start sharing my screen, want to talk about like what this solves in LaunchBay, what smarter contract assignment means. So in LaunchBay, when you create a contract, there is a default role that is called the client role. And that's every time you upload a new contract, the client is assigned to that. What we have done with this default client role is that we now give you the ability to automatically assign the client to the contract itself as a signee whenever you add them. So there used to be this manual step where you create a project from one of your templates, and then you can activate all tasks through an automation. But what you still had to do was assign the client to the actual contract within the task. So it was a little bit of a hiccup, a little bit of like a manual step that we really wanted to eliminate. And now with this update, we have. So let me show you what this is going to look like now. And I said before we went live here today, I set up a really great example of this. So what I'm going to do first is just show you what it looks like. Then I'll show you how to set it up. So in my account, I have set up this template for us here today, the CRM implementation template that I sometimes work from. How I have set this up is I have a signed contract task, and I am assigned to it. So within that contract, I'm one of the people who are, the signees for this, but we also need to add the client whenever we create a new project from this template. So how did I do this? How did I set this up? Okay, it's very easy. It's very straightforward. I'll show you how to do it in just a couple minutes. So what you come in and do is I have set up this, and actually I'll just do this from scratch here just to show you really quickly. But then I'll use my workflow that I've set up just to show you the full process. So what you would go ahead and do to take advantage of the sort of auto assigning of the client contract role, come in here, upload your contract template. So this is a PDF. I'm just going to call this example for now. I'm not going to use this in my real project, but this is like the complete workflow from end to end. So I've uploaded my contract. I'm going to click Edit Fields. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and add all of my client fields. So for example, I will drag in a text field that will be the client's name. And then as a reminder too, you can map these to custom fields if you'd like. All you have to do that is you can paste a custom field into the, going crazy a little bit. You can paste a custom field if you'd like, if anybody doesn't know how to do this, into this API ID. If you did want to autofill this information, you just have to paste it in there. I'm not going to do this because this is just a very quick example. But whenever I add a field to this, what you'll see is that if the placeholder recipient is client, which is this default system field that we add, you are able to auto assign this to the client as the signee whenever a project is created from your template. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then in my full example version, I also have a team member assigned to this. So what you would also have to do is add a team member role to this as well. So that's the client signature. And then I would just very quickly add a team member. This can also be auto-assigned as well. This is something that we've had for a little while. Basically, anything that's assigned to a team member to complete in a contract, you can auto-assign them to that by default. And you would set that up in your template. Okay, so I've set up my contract. This is just a very quick example. I'm not going to do every single field, but I have the default client field, that placeholder recipient we create for you, as well as I added a team member field. So then what you would do in your template, and let me just walk you through this here really quickly. After setting up your contract, you would go ahead and we'll make this a portal task, and we'll call this sign new client agreement. And then I will attach my new client contract. And this is the one I set up before the call. And then I will go ahead and make sure that I am the one who is responsible for the team fields. So I can map all of that out ahead of time. When I do that, I am also auto-assigned it to the task. So I have this contract task. And then what will happen now is when I create a project from this template, I can then, when I add the client to the project, they'll be assigned to this task automatically. So as I had mentioned, I've set up this workflow ahead of time. So I'm going to kind of show you what the completed version looks like. But what I've also done within my template is I've set up automations to where when the project is created, we activate the onboarding form. When the onboarding form is complete, we activate the contract task. So all of this is going to happen automatically. And then if I wanted to take this even a step further, I could, of course, do the project creation process through Zapier. What would happen if I set up a Zap for this is when a certain event happened in one of my other tools, Zapier would create the project, invite the client, assign them to all tasks, and activate it. And you wouldn't even have to lay a finger. You wouldn't even have to, do any manual steps to onboard those clients. It would all be streamlined, automatic for you. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'm going to click Create Project. I'll call this Contract Example. Okay. And like I said, I'm doing it just the quick manual way for the sake of example, but this is something that could be automated. Then I'll go ahead in here and add my client. So we'll add Mike Smith to this. I'm also going to click this prompt that says assign client to all tasks. Yes, I want to do that. And sweet. So Mike here was assigned to the client onboarding form. And we can see that. And he's also been assigned to the contract task. As a reminder, I set up an automation to where once that client onboarding task was completed, Mike would then complete the contract would be automatically assigned to Mike. So I'm going to override this. I'm not going to wait for Mike to complete it, or I'm not going to spend the time doing a example submission of this. So I'm just going to click complete. And then let's go ahead and hop into Mike's portal and see what this project looks like to him now. So I am in here in Mike Smith's portal, and we have the contract example project. Let's go into the tasks for that. And beautiful. I can see that the onboarding form is completed. And now Mike Smith here was automatically assigned to this contract. I had to do no, and especially in the case that I was automating this through Zapier, no manual action was needed of me or my team. Mike is automatically assigned to this. They are the first person to sign. So they'll go ahead in here. And I'll just quickly complete this. Okay. I'm just going to kind of put some junk in here really quickly. So we'll just sign this on Mike's behalf here. Okay. Agree and finish. Okay. And now, once I pan back to my admin view, I can see that, great, Mike has completed his end of the contract. This is active. It's ready to go for then me to finish countersigning. So that's the whole workflow. Hopefully, I know it was Amanda, I believe, who had asked this question. Amanda, was that all clear to you? Let me know. Yeah, it looks like it was Amanda. Let me know. That's kind of the whole workflow from end to end. But yeah, really smooth, really easy. In fact, like a lot of this, depending on how you've set up your contracts already, should just work out of the gate if you're using that default client contract role or client contract signee role. One thing to note is that if you have like 5 or 6 or just even multiple people signing a contract, you still may need to go in and like adjust signing orders for more complicated projects or more complicated contracts. But for things where it's just one client signing and then you're counter signing, it really, with this functionality we've added, you can really automate the entire process. And perfect. It sounds like that will work for you. You just need to update some automations. Beautiful. And then if you need help with that, if you want help setting that up, Amanda, do not hesitate to email our team at hello@launchbay.com. But it's wonderful to hear that's going to be useful for you. Also, a couple of other questions and some follow-ups. Okay. Cheyenne had asked, and this was a question about the things that I was showing off earlier with the project stages. Sorry, let me just read through these here real quick. In our workflow, once a project is marked complete, it may be sent to print. So the ability for clients to continue making changes can create some confusion and printing errors. Yeah, so once the task is complete, for the bulk majority of those tasks, we like lock them down, where I believe clients are still able to comment, but they're not able to like make changes to things directly. Let me look into that. But I think it might be helpful to have just a little bit more clarity there and maybe understand your workflows a little bit more specifically. If you want to just send us an email, that's probably the best way to go about this. This is also limiting. Cheyenne also says this is also limiting our ability to use provided automation through LaunchBay. And we would like to be able to use them in the future. Yeah, I think I need a little bit more clarification there, Cheyenne, of what the exact blocker is. It sounds like with the way that you've set things up, like there's some way clients are kind of sneaking around the workflow where they're able to make changes. But it sounds like that's something that we should be able to resolve for you. We may just need to know a little bit more about your workflow. For that one, I definitely recommend emailing us. It looks like, cool, you already had an email to send today. Awesome. Yeah, please write us in at support. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to address this for you. Just needs a little bit more information on that. So sweet. Wow, this has went super fast. But one thing I did just want to show off here today, I wanted to show off, first of all, or really is the last thing here, is just the ability to set project stage for Zapier Tasks. So using motion or using LaunchBay's create task Zapier action, because this is something that I know has been heavily requested by clients. Once again, like what this is is you can set up a workflow in Zapier to automatically create tasks when something else happens somewhere else. Previously, you hadn't been able to specify a stage for tasks that you create. Now you can. So let's go ahead. I'll just pop into my Zapier account here very quickly. And let's create a new Zap. All right, perfect. So I'm going to select a trigger here. I'm not going to really spend too much time configuring this. I just want to show you the basics of how this is going to be set up. Actually, I don't want to use this Slack trigger. Let me use something that'll be a little clearer. I'm going to change this to, I think I have a good form I can use via fill out here. Okay. Yeah, this will work good. Okay. Oh, wrong account there. Okay. Sweet. Okay. So let's say that I had a form within my account that I just wanted to use to create a task in a specific LaunchBay project. What I could do, and what you're able to do now with these updates we've made to our Zapier action, I'm going to come in here, select LaunchBay, and select my account. Okay, perfect. And now what I can go ahead and do is I'll use this create task option. And this is going to allow me to create a specific task in a project. So for what you'll notice here is that we have to map this to a specific project name. What I'm going to do to layer, an additional thing on top of this to make sure that we find the right project and create the right task in it every time is I'm going to add an additional step that uses LaunchBay's find project action. So what we'll do here, when this new form is submitted, we're going to search by the client's email address. I'm going to map this to the client email from the form submission. Which will find that correct project for me. And then in the next step, what I can do here is I'll use that information that was found. And I can go ahead and create a new task. So let's say that every time this form is submitted, I want to create a task that is, let me see, what's a good task that we could create? I don't know if anybody has any ideas in the audience of a task they'd like to see me create. Let's just say that this is a task to launch a new campaign. Actually, let's call it new social content. Basically, they submit this form, we find the project, and we create a task for our team to create a new social post for them. I can also, within my project that it finds, I can map this to a specific stage. So in one of my example projects earlier, I had a stage called design work. So long as I enter the name of that stage directly in this field here, LaunchBay is going to automatically find it, automatically add it to the right task. And then from there, I can add a description. I can even, if I want to, assign the client to this. So I could use the client's email to actually assign them to this task as well if I wanted to, if it was something they were responsible for, as well as attach files, toggle on approval, and assign the client to the task. I could even set a due date this way. So with this change that we've made, it opens up a lot more functionality just to make sure that things are going in the right spot every time this form submission triggers. And there's all sorts of ways that you can use the create task action in Zapier. One of the more common ways that I didn't show in this example, just because it's a little bit more complex to set up, but it does work really well, is if something happens in your project management tool. So for example, let's say you have a contractor or just even another internal team member completing some work, some deliverable for a client. You could use the trigger from your project management tool and follow this exact same workflow. So let's say this could be task completed in ClickUp, and then you could find the project in LaunchBay and create the task, and you could send that client a task to review exactly what you produced for them in just one streamlined automated workflow, seamlessly integrating your external project management tool with your LaunchBay projects. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully there's people out there, if you're watching this, you can take advantage of that here today. We are past time here today. This one went so fast. Holy cow. I love all of the questions that everybody sent in, and I really thank you so much for all of the thoughtful questions, comments. This was a really fun one. So with that, we do these live streams now every other week, exact same time, 10:30 every Friday here in Mountain Time in Colorado, where I'm located, and actually where the rest of our team is located. But until then, don't hesitate to write in, email our support team if there's things that you need help with. And thanks again, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your Friday and a fantastic weekend. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.